The warning ignored, the crystalline spires of Nexus Prime glittered like frozen flames against the backdrop of twin-setting suns. Commander Oriana Kess stood at the viewport of the conclave chambers, her silver-blue skin reflecting the fading light as she contemplated the decision before them. "You're suggesting we openly challenge Drakkar Vex?" asked Counselor Thaddeus, his transparent membranes fluttering with concern. "The warlord controls 17 star systems. His armada outnumbers our peacekeeping fleet 3-1. Oriana turned, her amber eyes reflecting determination. "I'm suggesting we warn him. This planet Earth, it's different. The humans are not like the other species he's conquered." The conclave chambers housed representatives from over 200 spacefaring civilizations, yet the mention of Earth, backwater planet barely a century into its space, age caused an uncomfortable silence to fall. "Different how?" asked High Minister Jorvik, her crystalline exoskeleton chiming softly as she leaned forward. "They adapt," Oriana replied simply. "Where other species evolve over millennia to face challenges, humans transform themselves and their environment within generations. They've survived catastrophes that should have ended them. They thrive in environments from Arctic to equatorial. They've developed technology at a rate that defies all our models. Yet they've barely reached their neighboring planet," scoffed Drell Montag, the Mercantile Alliance representative. "Their technology is primitive at best." Oriana activated the holographic display. "They went from first flight to landing on their moon in 66 planetary cycles. From discovering atomic energy to quantum computing in less than 200. Their capacity for innovation under pressure is unmatched." "Vex doesn't care about innovation," Thaddeus argued. "He cares about firepower, and Earth has none that could challenge him." "That's precisely why we must intervene," Oriana countered. "If Vex attacks, expecting an easy victory, the humans will surprise him. And a cornered, desperate humanity might develop weapons we can't predict. The resulting conflict could destabilize the entire sector." The debate continued for hours before the conclave finally voted. Oriana would lead a diplomatic mission to Vex's fortress world, Crater Prime, with the formal warning of the conclave. Earth was not to be touched. 3 cycles later, Oriana stood in the obsidian hall of Drakkar Vex's throne room. The warlord lounged on his seat of polished black metal, his crimson scales gleaming under the harsh lights, yellow eyes regarding her with amused contempt. "Commander Kess," he purred, voice like gravel grinding underfoot. "The conclave sends its most decorated diplomat to deliver a message about—" What was it again? Some insignificant dirtball? "Earth is under conclave protection now, Warlord Vex," Oriana stated firmly. "Your planned invasion violates 17 statutes of interstellar law." Vex laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Protection? The conclave can barely protect its own borders. And you expect me to fear consequences over some primitive mammals? Who thinks splitting atoms is impressive?" "It's not about consequences," Oriana replied. "It's about miscalculation. Humans are resourceful beyond measure. They faced extinction multiple times and survived. They—" "Spare me your xenanthropology lecture, Commander," Vex interrupted, standing to his full height, towering over her. "I've conquered species with technology centuries beyond Earth's. Your warnings mean nothing." Oriana met his gaze unflinchingly. "Then consider this. When not if your invasion fails, the conclave will not intervene to save you from humanity's response." Vex's tail lashed angrily against the floor. "Get out," he snarled, "before I decide to make an example of you alongside these humans you're so fond of." As Oriana's diplomatic vessel departed Crater Prime, she sent an encrypted message to Earth's Nascent Space Defense Command. "Prepare yourselves. War is coming." In his fortress, Vex summoned his fleet commander. "Begin the invasion preparations. I want Earth brought to heel within 1 standard cycle. As you command, Warlord, replied Commander Kral Zenith with a bow, hiding his own doubts behind military discipline. Shall we deploy the full armada? No, Vex smiled coldly. Send the Third Fleet. I won't waste resources on such an insignificant conquest. Little did he know that this decision would be the first of many fatal errors in his campaign against humanity. First Contact, First Blood Captain Jaden Rhodes watched the alien ships descend through Earth's atmosphere, their obsidian hulls reflecting the morning sun like dark mirrors. From his hidden command post in the Rocky Mountains, he observed the invasion unfold with calculated calm. All units maintain radio silence, he ordered over the secure channel. Remember your training. We're outgunned, but not outmatched. 3 days ago, the warning had come through from an unknown source beyond Earth's solar system. Most governments had dismissed it as a hoax until NASA confirmed massive objects decelerating at the edge of the solar system. Now, Vex's Third Fleet deployed over major cities worldwide, their gravitational engines creating artificial auroras in the sky. In Denver, Dr. Elise Harlow worked feverishly in her underground laboratory, a quantum physicist with a background in experimental weapons. She had been recruited the moment the alien threat was confirmed. The energy signatures are unlike anything in our theoretical models, she muttered, analyzing the data streaming in from sensors worldwide. Her assistant, Professor Naveen Singh, looked up from his workstation with concern. They're deploying ground forces in Chicago, Beijing, and London simultaneously, Naveen reported. Their tech it's beyond anything we've conceived. Elise's eyes narrowed. Maybe, but every technology has a frequency, a pattern. Find me that pattern. On Vex's command ship, Kral Zenith frowned at the tactical display. Warlord, I'm detecting unusual movement patterns from the humans. They're not panicking as expected. Drakkar Vex waved a dismissive hand. Of course they panic. They always panic. Deploy the Ravager units. Hundreds of drop pods pierced the atmosphere, each containing a squad of Vex's elite soldiers. They landed in strategic locations, expecting to encounter disorganized resistance or terrified civilians. Instead, they found empty streets. Captain Rhodes smiled grimly as the first alien squad entered the abandoned shopping mall his team had prepared. Spring the trap. A mall sprinkler system activated, but instead of water, it sprayed a rapidly hardening foam developed for riot control. 3 aliens were immediately immobilized. The others fired energy weapons wildly, only to find their shots absorbed by hastily retrofitted subway panels lined with experimental metamaterials. Now, Rhodes commanded. Snipers positioned on the upper levels opened fire with conventional weapons, simple but effective, against an enemy that expected energy shields to protect against energy weapons, not kinetic projectiles. Similar scenes played out across the globe as humanity fought back with improvised weapons and guerrilla tactics. In London, civilians turned fighters used underground tunnels to ambush alien patrols. In Beijing, ancient military strategies were repurposed for extraterrestrial warfare. Kral Zenith's concern deepened as reports flooded in. Warlord, we've lost contact with 28 ground units. The humans are using primitive, but unexpectedly effective countermeasures. Vex slammed his fist against his command console. Impossible. Increase the deployment. Burn their cities if necessary. Sir, Zenith ventured cautiously, perhaps we should analyze their tactics before. Are you questioning my command? Vex snarled. In her lab, Dr. Harlow had made a breakthrough. Their communications use quantum entanglement, but with a modulation pattern we can disrupt, she explained to the Joint Chiefs on a secure video call. Give me 48 hours, and I can temporarily blind their network. General Nathaniel. Warren, the stern-faced head of Earth's hastily assembled defense coalition, nodded. You have 24, Doctor. Make it count. As the first day of invasion ended, Humanity had suffered losses, but far fewer than Vex had anticipated. Captain Rhodes and his tactical teams had destroyed or captured over 60 alien craft using nothing more sophisticated than adapted surface-to-air missiles and strategically placed explosives. In the darkness of his command post, Rhodes reviewed the day's footage, studying the aliens' movements, their weapons, their weaknesses. "They're strong," he told his exhausted team, "but they're arrogant. They expected sheep. Instead, they found wolves." On his command ship, Vex received the day's casualty reports with growing rage. This was not the easy conquest he had promised his commanders. These humans fought with a ferocity and cleverness he had not anticipated. "Tomorrow," he growled to Kral Zenith, "we show them the true meaning of war." But as Zenith left the command bridge, he couldn't help but wonder if perhaps Commander Oriana Kess had been right about these humans after all. The unexpected Alliance commander, Oriana Kess's diplomatic vessel, re-entered Earth's atmosphere under cover of the meteor shower, evading Vex's orbital blockade. Her decision to defect was unprecedented in Conclave history, but she couldn't stand. While Vex slaughtered a species with such remarkable potential, her ship landed at a secret military installation in the Australian outback, where General Nathaniel Warren waited with a contingent of Special Forces soldiers. "You're taking quite a risk, Commander Kess," Warren said, as Oriana emerged from her ship. Despite his stern demeanor, curiosity gleamed in his eyes. "How do I know this isn't some elaborate trap?" Oriana's amber eyes met his unflinchingly. "If Vex wins here, General, he won't stop. My people will be next, or the Threxy, or the Nodari. Someone needs to draw the line." Warren studied her for a long moment before nodding. "Well, you've brought us something valuable, at least." He gestured to the data crystal she carried. "That contains Vex's tactical systems?" "Complete schematics of his fleet, including shield frequencies and weapons capabilities," Oriana confirmed. "His arrogance is his weakness. He believes his technology is so superior that he doesn't bother with adequate security measures." In Denver, Dr. Harlow worked with Professor Singh to incorporate Oriana's intelligence into their disruptor prototype. The alien data provided the missing pieces they needed. "This could actually work," Elise whispered, her eyes wide as simulations. "Showed a 78% success probability. We can create a cascading failure in their quantum communication network." Naveen nodded excitedly. "And without communications, their coordinated attack strategy falls apart." Meanwhile, Captain Rhodes led increasingly successful guerrilla operations against Vex's ground forces. Human casualties were mounting, but for every fallen soldier, the aliens lost 3. On the 5th day of the invasion, General Warren took Oriana to the war room beneath the Pentagon. Holographic displays showed the current state of the conflict, red markers for alien forces, blue for human resistance. "We've held them off longer than anyone expected," Warren admitted, "but we're running out of resources. Major cities are in ruins and civilian casualties are climbing." Oriana studied the tactical display. "Vex is getting desperate. He's called in reinforcements from the Centauri system." Their hands brushed as they both reached to adjust the hologram, and an unexpected current passed between them. Warren cleared his throat, suddenly aware of how close they stood. "Your people's help has been invaluable," he said softly. "Without your warning, we wouldn't have had time to prepare at all." Oriana's silver-blue skin flushed slightly darker. "Your species continues to surprise me, General. Where others would surrender, you find new ways to fight." On Vex's command ship, Kral Zenith reviewed disturbing reports. Human resistance was stronger than ever, and morale among the invasion forces was declining. Worse, Vex had become increasingly erratic, ordering orbital bombardments of civilian centers that served no strategic purpose. "This is madness," Zenith murmured to his adjutant. We're losing more ships every day to their primitive but effective tactics. His communication device chimed with an encrypted message from Commander Kess. Zenith hesitated only briefly before opening it. "Vex has doomed your fleet," the message read, "but you can still save your soldiers. Contact me on this frequency if you want to discuss terms." As Zenith contemplated treason, Dr. Harlow made the final adjustments to her disruptor device. "It's ready," she announced to General Warren and Commander Kess. "But we'll need to get it within 50 kilometers of Vex's command ship to trigger." The Cascade. Warren turned to Oriana, their newfound trust evident in his expression. "I believe that's where your expertise comes in, Commander." Oriana nodded, her hand briefly touching his. "Indeed it is, General. And I know just the person who might help us get close enough, if he values his life more than his loyalty to Vex." As dawn broke on the 7th day of invasion, both sides prepared for what would become the turning point of the war. Humanity was bloodied but unbroken, and for the first time, Drakkar Vex began to feel something he had never experienced before: doubt. The counterattack the rising sun cast long shadows across the devastated landscape of what was once downtown Chicago. Captain Jaden Rhodes and his strike team moved silently through the ruins, each soldier carrying a component of Dr. Harlow's disruptor device. Strike teams Bravo and Charlie in position, came the whispered confirmation over his unit. Waiting for the signal. Above, cloaked by experimental stealth technology developed by merging human innovation with Oriana's knowledge, a squadron of retrofitted fighter jets awaited deployment. Their mission: to create a diversion while Rhodes' team infiltrated Vex's forward command post. In the Australian Command Center, General Warren and Commander Oriana monitored the operation. The tension between them had evolved into something deeper over the past days, professional respect blossoming into an unexpected connection. "Your Captain Rhodes is quite remarkable," Oriana observed, studying the tactical display. "Most species would have broken under such pressure." Warren's weathered face softened slightly. "That's humanity for you. We're at our best when things are at their worst." His hand briefly covered hers. "Thank you for believing in us when your conclave wouldn't." On Vex's command ship, Krall Zenith made his decision. The warlord had become increasingly unstable, ordering mass executions of his own officers for perceived failures. Using the secure channel Oriana had provided, Zenith contacted the Human-Alien Alliance. "Vex plans to deploy orbital weapons targeting your planet's tectonic fault lines," he warned. "I can disable the targeting systems, but only for 30 minutes. After that, he'll notice the sabotage." Dr. Harlow, linking in from her Denver lab, spoke urgently. "That's enough time if Rhodes can plant the disruptor. Once activated, it will create a chain reaction through their quantum-entangled network." "And the casualties on your side?" Warren asked Zenith. The alien commander's expression remained stoic. "Acceptable, given the alternative. Vex must be stopped. He's no longer the leader I pledged to follow." As dawn broke, Operation Thunderstrike commenced. Human fighter jets launched a coordinated attack on Vex's fleet, seemingly suicidal, but precisely calculated to draw attention from Rhodes' ground mission. Vex raged on his command bridge. "Destroy them all. These primitives dare to challenge me directly?" Unnoticed by the warlord, Zenith subtly adjusted the fleet's defense protocols, creating a narrow window of vulnerability. On the ground, Rhodes' team fought their way through alien defenses, sustaining losses but pushing forward relentlessly. The components of Harlow's device were assembled on the move, each team member knowing their task despite the chaos around them. "We've reached the deployment zone," Rhodes reported, blood streaming from a gash on his forehead. "Preparing final assembly." Professor Singh, monitoring from Denver, guided the team through the complex activation sequence. The quantum resonance must be precisely calibrated. One mistake and the cascade fails. As Rhodes completed the final connections, Vex's security forces discovered the breach. Energy weapons blazed through the ruined building, forcing the human team into defensive positions. "Need 2 more minutes," Rhodes grunted, fingers working deftly despite the firefight. "You've got one," his sergeant replied grimly, returning. Fire dot in a desperate gambit, 3 soldiers charged the alien position, drawing fire to give Rhodes the time he needed. None survived, but their sacrifice wasn't in vain. "Disruptor active," Rhodes confirmed, his voice tight with emotion. "Withdrawing to extraction point." Dr. Harlow watched her monitors as the device came online, creating quantum interference that spread through Vex's communication network like a virus. Ship after ship went dark, their systems failing as the disruption cascaded. On his command ridge, Vex watched in disbelief as his fleet lost power, weapon systems and life support simultaneously. "What is happening?" he roared, turning to find Zenith pointing a weapon at him. "The end of your war, warlord," Zenith replied calmly. "Humanity sends their regards." As Vex's fleet drifted powerless in orbit, Earth's combined military forces launched their counterattack. Within hours, the invasion that was supposed to subjugate humanity in days had been decisively repelled. Got in the Australian command center, Warren and Oriana embraced briefly, relief and something more passing between them. "Your people are remarkable," she whispered. "So are you?" he replied, his eyes conveying what words couldn't yet express. The lesson learned, the grand chamber of the Galactic Conclave hummed with anticipation. For the first time in its 5,000-year history, representatives of a Kree-of-TL civilization stood before the assembled delegates. General Nathaniel Warren and Dr. Elise Harlow, accompanied by Commander Oriana Kess, approached the central podium with measured steps. High Minister Jorvak's crystalline form glittered as she addressed the chamber. "We convene this emergency session to address the unprecedented events in the Sol system. Warlord Drakkar Vex, in violation of Conclave directives, launched an invasion against Earth. The outcome was unexpected." Murmurs rippled through the assembly as holographic displays showed the defeated remnants of Vex's once mighty fleet being escorted to interstellar holding facilities. "Humans," Counselor Thaddeus remarked, transparent membranes fluttering. "You have accomplished what the combined forces of the Conclave failed to do for decades. You defeated Vex." Warren stepped forward, his military bearing commanding respect despite his species' newcomer status. "We did what any species would do when threatened with extinction. We fought back, but we didn't do it alone." He glanced at Oriana, their shared glance speaking volumes. In the 3 months since Vex's defeat, Earth had begun rebuilding. Captain Rhodes, now Colonel Rhodes, led the integration of salvaged alien technology with human innovation, accelerating Earth's technological development by centuries. Dr. Harlow's quantum disruptor had revolutionized physics, opening new frontiers in energy production and space travel. Most significantly, the relationship between General Warren and Commander Kess had blossomed from professional respect into something deeper. Their union, the first between a human and a conclave species, symbolized a new era of interstellar cooperation. "The conclave has deliberated," High Minister Jorvak announced. "Earth will be granted special protected status, with accelerated consideration for full membership once your species achieves independent FTL capability, which, given your rate of advancement, we anticipate within a decade rather than the usual century." Drell Montag, who had once dismissed humans as primitive, spoke next. "Additionally, we propose the establishment of a new conclave protocol, the Earth Directive. No species shall initiate aggression against humanity or its colonies. The consequences of such action will be severe and immediate." Applause echoed through the chamber, though some delegates shifted uncomfortably. The directive wasn't just about protecting Earth. It was an acknowledgement that humanity represented something both promising and dangerous. Later, in the private gardens of the Conclave Citadel, Warren and Oriana stood beneath alien stars, her silver blue hand entwined with his. "Your people will change the galaxy," she said softly. "The Conclave fears that as much as it respects it." Warren smiled, drawing her closer. "Change isn't always bad. Look at us." In a secure holding facility light years away, Dracorvex stared through energy barriers at his captors. The once mighty warlord had been reduced to a prisoner, his empire dismantled, his legacy one of failure. "You should have heeded my warning," Oriana told him during her official visit. "Humanity was never the easy conquest you imagined." Vex's yellow eyes narrowed. "One victory doesn't make them special." "No," Oriana agreed, "but what they did afterward does. Where you would have demanded retribution, they've offered rehabilitation for your soldiers. Where you would have destroyed, they seek to understand." As she departed, Kral Zenith, now the Conclave's liaison to Earth's new defense force, fell into step beside her. "The integration program is proceeding well," he reported. 17 worlds formerly under Vex's control have requested Earth-style democratic systems. On Earth, Colonel Rhodes stood with Professor Singh at the newly established Interstellar Defense Academy, watching recruits from a dozen nations train together. "We were lucky," Singh remarked. "Next time, we might face something worse than Vex." Rhodes shook his head. It wasn't luck. It was humanity doing what it does best, adapting, overcoming, surprising everyone, including ourselves. He gestured to the training field where human innovation merged with alien technology. "And next time, we'll be ready." As the first human embassy to the Conclave opened its doors, a new phrase entered the lexicon of galactic diplomacy: the Earth approach, signifying creativity, resilience, and unexpected solutions to impossible problems. Throughout the galaxy, one lesson was now universally acknowledged: underestimate humanity at your peril.